Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 DVD and Blu-ray Collection Overview. Okay, so today we continue our look at the science fiction and fantasy shelves with the fantasy section. We've got quite a variety of different stuff here. There's a few things I'll be pulling off some of the box sets, shelves and stuff. Also some stuff I'll be pulling out of my bedroom, which I normally keep in there. So let's check it out. Fantasy, today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Fantasy Island. An island full of rich Corinthian leather. Okie dokie, so first things first, if you hear the fans going in the background, I hope you don't mind too much. It is freaking boiling. It's in the middle of a heat wave while I'm filming this, so I did a few with the fans off, and by the end I was just bathed in sweat, so I decided, you know what, we're going to leave the fans on, and yeah. Anyway, here we go. So this is the fantasy section, starting off. First, but most definitely not least, this was a gift from a longtime viewer, JL232. Such an awesome, generous guy. I can't thank him enough for this. This is the Harry Potter Hogwarts collection, which is basically all 8 movies and tons of extras. This is basically the same contents of the Wizard set from a few years ago, just without the really cryptic, hard to circumnavigate packaging. So everything's pretty simply laid out here. We've got basically all 7 years and a bonus disc as well. So here we go. So we got the movie, we've got the special features. As you can see, I mean, this is a pretty loaded set. We have extended versions of the first 2 movies. There are extended cuts of some of the other ones, but for whatever reason they weren't included in this set. So it's kind of weird. There is quite a wealth of deleted scenes, though, for all of them, so I guess if, I'm guessing most of the material that's in the extended cuts is in the deleted scenes. So, here we go. There's Order of the Phoenix, and Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows. I don't think this includes the 3D version. Oh, no, it does, right there. I'm blind, apparently. Yeah, so this includes the 3D version of the last 2 movies there, which is quite nice. And then we get a bonus disc there, Blu-ray bonus disc with a whole bunch of extra stuff on there. So, a very, very nice collection. Rosie's actually been reading the books of these. I think she's finished them now, actually. And we've been watching the movies together, and she's been enjoying them quite a bit. So one of these days, we still haven't got around to watching the last 3. We watched the first 5 movies, but we have not watched the last 3. Next up, we have, I did a video about this a while back, we have the Lord of the Rings motion picture trilogy. This is the DVD collection, which essentially at this stage I just kind of keep as a display piece. But it's very nice. I'm not going to take it all apart of it. I just thought I'd do it with the Harry Potter one. But I did a video about this, comparing the packaging, essentially, of this to the Blu-ray set. So if you want to get a deeper look at this set, you can check that out. But I always like this because it makes it look like books, and it's very classy. Some really nice package art in here, too. It's great stuff. And yeah, absolutely the definitive edition of those movies. And we'll just skip ahead here briefly. So, and this, of course, is the Blu-ray edition. This is the original release of the Blu-ray set. There's been a few iterations of it, but with the, it basically has like a magnetic sort of lock there. And you open it up, and it actually is the original releases in the black cases, which is quite nice, very classy. And then, of course, we also have the extended editions, the extended 3D editions of the Hobbit trilogy as well. So, see how well you can see the lenticularness there. Very nice. And then we've got the Desolation of Smaug. Yeah, basically, I picked up this one, And Rose had never seen any of them. So I picked up this one, and we watched it and loved it. And I got it like right before the second one came out. So then I think the next day we went to see the second one in the theater, and we saw it in the so-called high frame rate 3D, the one that runs at 48 frames per second instead of 24. And it was amazing. It looked so good. Like even Rosie said, "Wow, it was like so realistic. It's like you were there." And then we saw the third one in the theater. We saw it a little later in the run, so we didn't get the HFR version, but we did see it in regular 3D, and it was quite spectacular. So, I don't know, fans seem to be kind of split on these. I like them, personally. Some people didn't care for the Hobbit ones as much, said they kind of felt like they're filled with a lot of padding, but I don't know, whatever. I enjoy all of them. I thought they were a lot of fun. And then we have a classic film by Ralph Bakshi. We've got Wizards. It's great stuff. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I need to pick up his version of Lord of the Rings, actually. I've seen it many moons ago, but there's a really nice Digibook Blu-ray of it that... is it a Digibook? Maybe it wasn't a Digibook. No, I don't think it was a Digibook. Anyway, it's a nice Blu-ray edition of it I'd like to pick up. And then next up, what I consider to be the best adaptation of Robin Hood ever, we have Robin of Sherwood. This is a British series from the mid-'80s. All shot on film, so... prime candidate for high definition. So yeah, as soon as I heard they were putting this out on Blu-ray, it was like no hesitation. I had to get it. Well, I guess I hesitated a little bit, but yeah, I didn't wait too long. And then the second series, that's Jason Connery, by the way, who is Sean Connery's son, which is pretty cool. So really good stuff. So there was 2 seasons. Well, actually, I think it was more seasons than that, but a grand total of 26 episodes. There was 13 episodes with the first Robin Hood, and then 13 episodes with the second Robin Hood. Really, really good. And this is also the version of Robin Hood that kind of introduced some supernatural elements into it, like sorcery and stuff, which previous versions did not have, and that have since become kind of the norm. There's a lot of things that were introduced in these that have since appeared in subsequent adaptations of Robin Hood. So if you're a fan of Robin Hood, definitely check out Robin of Sherwood. It's a great, great British series. And then we have Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, however you like to pronounce it, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I saw this one in the theater. Absolutely loved it. So much fun. And then I remember they did the next 2 sequels kind of back-to-back. One leads directly into the other. And I really liked these as well. I especially like Bill Nighy as Davy Crockett. Not Davy Crockett. Davy Jones. Wrong Davy. And then we got At World's End. I have not picked up... This 5 now? Yeah, I don't have the the 4th and 5th ones. I still need to pick those up. I've never seen them. And then we've got basically a little Ray Harryhausen section here. Now, this one isn't strictly fantasy, but I just included it because it's Ray Harryhausen. We have 20 Million Miles to Earth. Now, this includes the original black and white version as well as a colorized version. So, if you really want it colorized, that one's got you covered. And then the ones that I grew up with as a kid. We have The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And I have shown this one to Rose, and she really enjoyed it. She's really fascinated by sort of old school effects and stuff like that, so I really wanted to show those to her. And then we have The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. This was a Twilight Time limited release. This was actually my introduction to Twilight Time. I hadn't heard of them before that. I was just kind of looking around to see if the other Sinbads were getting a Blu-ray release or not, and it turned out they were already out. They were just limited editions, so you had to snap them up quick. So needless to say, I did. And Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. This is probably the one I saw the most as a kid. This is another Twilight Time release. I don't know why. It just seemed to get repeated a lot on television, so I saw it quite a few times over the years. Great stuff. Some notable Doctor Who actors in these, by the way. The Golden Voyage of Sinbad has Tom Baker as an evil sorcerer, and I think it's Seventh Voyage of Sinbad also has Patrick Troughton in it as well. Or maybe that was Eye of the Tiger. I can't remember. It was one of them anyway. Then we have Mysterious Island, which is another Twilight Time. And Twilight Time really dove into the Ray Harryhausen library. Lots of good stuff there. And then we have Jason and the Argonauts. This is great. This is probably one of my favorite Harryhausen films. First take on Greek mythology. some fantastic effects. This is where you get the famous skeleton warriors and stuff like that. It's just spectacular. And then this one I remember was probably my introduction to Ray Harryhausen as a kid. We have Clash of the Titans, this really nice digibook edition. Oh, and we got some stuff about the newer version in there as well. But yeah, this came out essentially as a tie-in with the new one and stuff like that. So you got all kinds of behind-the-scenes pictures there. Really cool, really nice. I love this movie. I remember there was a lot of sort of marketing tie-ins with like fast food joints and stuff like that at the time as well. It was really a big deal when it came out. And then we have the remake, Clash of the Titans. This is not the 3D edition. I didn't bother with the 3D edition because, well, essentially it was a last-minute post-convert because Avatar was suddenly doing a lot of business and everybody wanted to do the 3D thing because Avatar was making so much money. So they did a very hasty post-convert of this, which apparently was not very good. Everything kind of looked like cardboard cutouts. And, yeah, so I didn't bother with that. And I honestly, I mean, part nostalgia, part honestly think it's a better movie. I prefer the original Clash of the Titans over the remake. And then we have Wrath of the Titans, which is actually an original sequel. And this one I actually thought was pretty good. Maybe because I didn't have anything to compare it to like the other one. And taking it as it was easier to take it as its own thing. And then we have Immortals, which I actually still have yet to watch, I realize. Yeah, has Superman in it, Henry Cavill, and Mickey Rourke. Very cool. Well, that sounds like fun. I should watch that. And then we have the classic Ridley Scott film Legend, featuring a very young Tom Cruise, and Tim Curry essentially as the devil. Well, he's not really the devil, but he's a devil-like character. Now this is basically the Ultimate Edition, which includes both cuts of the movie with both scores. There's the the Tangerine Dream score, and the other one, is it Jerry Goldsmith? Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith's score as well. So both very different cuts of the movie and very different musical scores as well. So one is more a traditional orchestral score, and the other is a little more modern with because Tangerine Dream is more like a synthesizer group. And here we have the Brothers Grimm with Matt Damon and Heath Ledger. Really fun movie, basically kind of giving a fanciful take on how the Brothers Grimm came up with the ideas for their fairy tales. Lots of good stuff in there. And then we have the all-time classic, The Princess Bride. Oh, love this movie so much. I actually saw this in the theater when it first came out, and absolutely love it. I really need to pick up the book one of these days and read the original book, because I love the movie so much. I think this is finally getting a Criterion release, actually, which is great, and quite frankly, I think long overdue. And then we have The 10th Kingdom, which is basically a TV miniseries from a number of years ago. Essentially incorporating all the big fairy tales and such, and also kind of having the fairy tale world as a parallel world to the modern world, and characters going back and forth between this. This is the 15th anniversary Blu-ray edition. Very nice. And then we have the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which was, I think, one of Heath Ledger's last films, and directed by Terry Gilliam, who's quite an imaginative fellow. I hear we'll be finally getting his Don Quixote movie, which has been in the works for like 30 years. And then we have Mirrormask. Classic Neil Gaiman story there. And we have Krull. This is the Mill Creek Blu-ray. It's just bare bones. I do still have the special edition DVD. I'm not sure where it is. I think it's packed away somewhere. But I kept the special edition DVD because it's got tons and tons and tons of extras. I did a video about it a while back, and it's well worth tracking down, even if you have the Blu-ray, just for the extras. And then we have a lovely double feature here of The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, both of which were produced by Jim Henson, and both of which featured designs by fantasy artist Brian Froud. So we just slide it out here. So this is basically just an oversized slipcover. So we have just a fairly straightforward cover for The Dark Crystal. It's just the regular edition inside, but lots of extras on there. And then the New edition of Labyrinth. Now, both Dark Crystal and Labyrinth actually got Ultra HD 4K releases recently, so if you still don't have them, you probably want to go with those editions, because I understand they look pretty amazing. And then, just because it's a really nice collector's edition, I also have this, the collector's edition of the Dark Crystal, which is beautiful. I did a video about this a while back, so if you want a more detailed look at the contents, you can check that out. But a few cool pack-ins. It's got like a letter from who is this letter from Cheryl Henson, I guess his daughter, and it also has a replica of the notepad where Jim Henson wrote down a lot of his original notes and ideas for the movie, which is pretty cool. And then we have a big collection of Game of Thrones. Well, this here is the complete first season DVD set. This was sent to me by a viewer because basically with the first season, when it was originally released on DVD and Blu-ray, it had commentaries for all the episodes. And there was something in one of the commentaries that was seen as a little controversial. And in subsequent releases, that portion of the commentary was removed, so it was censored. Now, I had the original Blu-ray release of Season 1 and foolishly sold it, thinking, well, it's Game of Thrones, it'll be available forever. And, well, yes, it was, but only with the censored commentary track. So, the viewer sent me this one, basically as, just a nice little collector's item, because it's basically a limited edition slipcover with the sigil of House Stark, which is pretty cool. Plus, it has the uncut commentary track. Now, later, I was able to do a bit of eBay foo and actually found the first season, the original release of the first season, which is what this is here, and in absolutely pristine condition. Like, this was in perfect, good as new condition, and it does indeed have the uncensored commentary track. So it is properly complete, and I am happy. And then I got the second season. It took me a while to sort of collect these. I mean, I watched all of them on HBO as they aired, so I have seen all of them, but it took me a while to get around to picking up all the Blu-ray sets. So here's season 3. Nice silhouette of the dragon there. And there we go. And season 4, this set's a little bit beat up. You can't really tell too much here, but if you look, where is it? Yeah, if you look there, it's actually got a big tear on it and stuff, and it's just kind of a big crease there. Yeah, I didn't notice. It's hard to tell in the shrink wrap sometimes, but I got this on sale at Walmart, and I had no idea it was that beat up. Yeah, you can see. I mean, it's pretty. So, I don't know. I mean, at some point, I might replace this just to have a nice condition set that matches the condition of all my other sets. I don't know. I mean, everything inside seems to be fine. Then we have the 5th season, of course. That's a really nice cover. All these have these cool slip covers. And then season 6, they cheaped out on the packaging a little bit. They have this weird partial thing. Cool lenticular cover, though. I remember this artwork appeared kind of promoting the season, and people thought that because this was kind of indicating the death masks in the place that Arya was training, they thought it meant that all of these characters were going to die in this season, but no, it's just kind of a little fun image thing. But yeah, so they kind of cheaped out on the packaging in this one compared to the other ones. And then in season 7, I think it was a little bit better. This is a special Walmart exclusive edition. I might actually I don't know if I'm going to take it out of the box, but yeah. So if we actually open it up, so we got the Hand of the Queen pin, which is pretty cool, and then inside, it's basically just the regular Season 7 edition, like that. The only difference being it doesn't have the information on the back. That is only on the back of the box. See, normally there's sort of a I don't know, slip paper or something. But yeah. So, and this packaging was a little bit nicer than the season 7 set. They kind of went back. And then it also comes with this bonus disc, and this comes with all editions of it, as far as I'm aware. The Game of Thrones Conquest and Rebellion, an animated history of the Seven Kingdoms. Great stuff. There's animated histories like these on all the Blu-rays, and that's one of the many reasons to pick up the Blu-rays versus the DVDs, is there's quite a wealth of extras. The big one being the animated histories, where the animated histories actually give you all kinds of backstory about the Seven Kingdoms, and they are narrated by the actors from the show in character as their characters. So it's like the characters themselves are telling you the history of the Seven Kingdoms as you go. And, it's always, featurettes that are relevant to the episodes that are on that particular disc and stuff like that. It's just a really cool extra that gives you so much background information into everything. So basically, that bonus disc is another one of those, but it goes into the farther history. Now, that is not it for the fantasy section, because I also have a whole bunch of Conan the Barbarian. Yes, thought I forgot about Conan, didn't you? No, never. So this is the one-season TV series starring Ralph Muller. Which, was fun. It's fun. It's low budget. It's cheesy. But it does have, actually, if you're familiar with the original Robert E. Howard stories, it actually does have a lot of direct references to them, which was pretty cool. And then, of course, I have all that Shout Factory released of the animated series, Conan the Adventurer. A little bit of confusion. They're both called Conan the Adventurer. Although the actual show was only called Conan. I don't know why they called it Conan the Adventurer on the DVD. But anyway. And then we have Season 2, Part 1. Each set has 13 episodes, in case you're wondering. And then we have Season 2, Part 2. And sadly, that's all they released. So in order to complete it, it would have needed 2 more sets of 13 episodes apiece, which sadly, they never did. Oh well. And then, of course, we have the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Conan the Barbarian, which for many people is the definitive Conan, but honestly, it is not. If you've read the original stories, there are quite a few changes to the characterization and appearance of Conan in these movies. Now, that said, they are fun movies, and I do not besmirch them at all. I absolutely adore them, but yes, there's Conan the Destroyer. And then finally, we have the 2011 Conan movie with Jason Momoa. Speaking of Game of Thrones, he was, of course, Khal Drogo. But, yeah. Now, while this movie had its problems, in all honesty, as someone who has read the original stories, Jason Momoa's characterization of Conan in this, and also just his appearance and build and such, is much closer to the original stories. In fact, I'd say this is the most faithful adaptation we've had yet. Now, that said, apparently there is a TV series in the works, a live-action TV series being done sort of on the same level as Game of Thrones, adapting the original Robert E. Howard stories. Now, I believe it's going to be on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, good reason to get Amazon Prime. So next up we have Kull the Conqueror, which I think was originally going to be a Conan movie, but they changed it. So, anyway, it's Kull the Conqueror with Kevin Sorbo, who of course played Hercules in Hercules' Legendary Journeys. And finally, last but not least, wrapping up the little Robert E. Howard section here, we've got James Purefoy as Solomon Kane. So I actually just recently picked up the Del Rey collection of all the old all the original Solomon Kane stories. So I kind of want to read those first before I watch the movie. But I've heard that the movie's actually quite good, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Alrighty, well that was a lot of fantasy stuff. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. So next time, what do we got here? We'll be getting into some of the sci-fi franchises, actually. Got a whole bunch of sci-fi franchises. Got some, what is it, like some cyberspace stuff, and a whole bunch of cult films and things like that, like cult sci-fi favorites. So be sure to join me for that. So until then, thanks for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, and sayonara.